There's a feeling you should never give your viewer in the first 3 seconds of your video, and almost every creator I've studied is doing it, accidentally every single time. So here's what happened. I was stuck. My retention graphs all looked the same. This brutal cliff in the first 5 seconds, and then a slow bleed for the rest of the video. And I kept thinking the problem was my content, my editing, maybe my face, I don't know. But then I started pulling apart videos, not just watching them, actually dissecting the scripts line by line. And I found something that honestly kind of shook me. The creators getting millions of views, they're not writing better hooks. They're just avoiding 4 specific mistakes that the rest of us make on autopilot. But the 4th mistake, the one that matters most, it comes from a principle that's over 100 years old, and almost nobody in the content world is talking about it. All right, before I walk you through the 4 mistakes, let me just ground us on what a hook is actually supposed to do, because I think most people overcomplicate this. A hook has one job. 1. Help the viewer decide to keep watching. That's it. It's not supposed to be clever. It's not supposed to go viral on its own. It just needs to give the viewer 2 things: topic clarity and on-target curiosity. Topic clarity means the viewer immediately understands what this video is going to cover. No guessing, no decoding. On-target curiosity means they believe in their gut that what's coming next is going to be valuable for them specifically. Not just interesting in general, valuable for their situation. You deliver those 2 things in the first few seconds, you win. The viewer stays. And here's the beautiful part. Every hook that fails because it's missing one or both of those, which means there are really only 4 ways to screw it up. So let's break them down. Mistake number 1 is called delay. And the good news is this one is the easiest to fix. Delay means the context on what your video is about shows up too late. You've got fluff at the top, throat clearing, warm-up sentences that feel natural when you're talking, but are absolute killers when someone's scrolling. Here's what bad delay sounds like. Guys, this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen, and when you see it, you're never going to believe it. Now, in theory, that sounds like it might work. It's building suspense, right? You're curious about what this crazy thing is. But here's the problem. That sentence gives me 0 context on what's actually coming. A crazy thing could be literally anything. So, as the viewer, I can't decide if this video is worth my time because I don't have the information to make that decision. And look at what happens to retention. That first 2 to 3 seconds, it drops like a cliff. Every second you go without telling somebody what the video is about, a huge chunk of your audience just leaves. So, the fix is simple. Whatever your 3rd or 4th sentence was going to be, the one where you actually introduce the topic, move it to the front. Make it your first sentence. Something like, if you have gut issues, these 3 remedies will help you immediately. Boom. I know exactly what this video is about. I can decide in 1 second if I'm in or out. 0 delay. Maximum speed to value. Think about it like this. And this is something that changed the way I write. The best salespeople in the world don't walk up to you and say, I have something incredible to tell you. They walk up and say, you look like someone who deals with specific problem. I have the fix. They lead with what matters to you. Your hook should do the same thing. All right, mistake number 2, confusion, or more specifically, comprehension loss. So at this point, let's say you've fixed the delay. You're leading with the topic right away. Good, but the words you're using or the way you're structuring, the sentence is just muddy. The viewer is catching maybe half of what you're saying, and that half isn't enough to make a decision. Here's an exaggerated example. These guys built a $30 million empire, and the online money they made is most difficult to earn if you don't develop a journaling practice like they did. You can kind of piece together that it's about online business and journaling, but you're working way too hard to get there. Your brain is doing gymnastics trying to parse that sentence. And when the brain has to work that hard in the first few seconds of a video, it just opts out. Now watch what happens when we write the exact same idea with clarity. These guys built a $30 million empire, and their secret for earning money online was their insane journaling practice. Same information, completely different experience. Your comprehension hit rate goes way up, confusion goes way down. So here's the tactical fix. 3 rules. 1, use fewer words, but enough that the viewer can't misunderstand you. 2. Simpler words. Aim for a 6th grade reading level, seriously. Not because your audience is dumb, because clarity is a gift you give busy people. 3. Active voice, not passive. The dog jumped instead of the jump was made by the dog. And here's a quick hack. Take your hook, just those first 1 to 2 sentences, and read them in isolation. Then ask yourself, is there more than one way someone could interpret this? If there is, rewrite it until there's only one path, the one you intended. Mistake number 3 is irrelevance. And this one is sneaky, because you can nail the first 2, no delay, crystal clear, and still lose people here. Irrelevance means the viewer understands what your video is about but doesn't feel like it's for them. They're not confident the solution coming is going to apply to their situation. And the fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Stop saying I and me. Start saying you and your. Most creators open hooks like this. I've struggled with skin problems my whole life. The problem? That opens a door in the viewer's mind where they start questioning, do I relate to this person? Is their struggle the same as mine? Are they even like me? And if the answer is, I'm not sure, they bounce. But watch what happens when you flip it. If you've struggled with skin problems your whole life, now it's targeted. It's for them. There's no question about whether it's relevant because you literally said it is. The second fix for relevance is framing around a pain point instead of a topic. Compare these two. Here are 3 common trends in skincare versus, if you struggle with acne, try these 3 things. Learning about trends is a nice to have. Solving my acne is a need to have. One is a Wikipedia article, the other is a prescription. You want to be the prescription. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because everything I just told you, the delay fix, the clarity rules, the relevance flip, those are solid. They'll improve your hooks immediately, but they're a layer that most content creators have never even considered. And I stumbled onto this by accident. So I was researching what makes people actually take action, not just watch, but do something. And I kept finding the same principle buried in the most successful campaigns across every era, not just YouTube, not just social media, going back over 100 years. And the principle is this: the best hooks don't sell, they serve. Think about that for a second. The ads that outperformed everything else by 5 times, 10 times, sometimes 50 times, they never opened with "buy my thing." They opened with an offer of service, free information, a solution to a problem, something the viewer could use right now without spending a dime. And this maps perfectly to hooks, when your hook leads with what the viewer is going to get. A solution, an insight, a framework, instead of what you want them to do. Retention goes up every time. Here's the practical application. Instead of, I'm going to show you my content strategy, try, here are 3 hooks you can steal right now that are working in every niche on YouTube. The first one is about you. The second one, act of service. You're handing them something valuable before they've committed anything. People can be coaxed, but not driven. Whatever they do to please themselves. So your hook's job isn't to convince someone to watch. It's to make watching feel like the obvious best use of their next 10 minutes. That's a completely different energy. And once you feel that difference, you can't unfeel it. All right. Mistake number 4, the big one. Disinterest. The viewer is clear on the topic, believes it's relevant to them, and you haven't wasted their time with delay or confusion. But the hook still just doesn't grab them. It's fine. It's accurate. It's just not magnetic. This is the curiosity problem. And everybody talks about curiosity loops, but almost nobody explains what they actually are. So here's what a curiosity loop actually is. The viewer sees something. Their brain asks a question. They get a piece of context that partially answers it, but that answer sparks a new question. And that new question gets partial context, which sparks another question, and on and on. That's the loop. That's what keeps people watching. Your job in the hook is to open that first loop. Create that initial question where the viewer just can't look away until they get the answer. And the way you do that, the actual mechanical technique, is contrast. Contrast is the distance between what the viewer currently believes and some alternative perspective you're offering. The bigger that gap, the more curiosity you generate. Example: this one trick will clear up all your acne in 45 minutes without any side effects. What's happening in the viewer's brain? They're comparing that to their current baseline. Months of treatment, expensive products, side effects, and the gap between their reality and your claim? That gap is the curiosity. That's what makes them stay. Now, here's the key, and this is where most people mess up. You have to make that contrast specific. Vague contrast doesn't work. This will change your life. That's technically contrast, but it's so broad that the brain can't latch onto it. Compare that to, this eliminated 80% of my acne in 2 days using something from my kitchen. Specific, tangible, the brain can picture it. And when the brain can picture it, curiosity fires. Now, there are 2 ways to create this contrast, and knowing the difference will make you dangerous. Stated contrast is when you explicitly say both sides, A versus B, impossible to miss. Most people solve their acne with Accutane, but I found an herbal remedy that works 3 times faster. You're literally spelling out the comparison, Accutane versus herbal remedy. The viewer doesn't have to do any work. Implied contrast is more subtle. You only state your alternative, and you let the viewer fill in the baseline themselves. If you want to clear your skin, this herbal supplement is 8 times more effective. You don't mention Accutane, you don't mention the baseline, but the viewer already knows what the standard options are, so the contrast is implied. Both work. Stated is more blunt, great for beginners, impossible to misunderstand. Implied is more elegant, works when your audience already knows the landscape. And typically, your first sentence handles the topic clarity, and then the next 1 or 2 sentences set up the contrast. That's your hook. 2 to 3 lines, not a single punchy sentence. A sequence that delivers clarity and then opens the curiosity loop. So if you want a shortcut into how to use all of this information, then you can simply paste this video into a tool like viralcanvas.ai and then ask it to give you a set of instructions that can be attached to an AI chat. So what I do is I use viralcanvas.ai. I grab the links to viral videos in my niche, paste them in, and it transcribes everything. Now I've got the actual script, and then I can connect those transcripts to an AI chat, and I also connect my hook instructions and copywriting instructions. But here's the part that actually matters to me. I also uploaded a bunch of my own videos, so the AI knows how I talk, my patterns, my rhythm. So when I say, now rewrite this in my voice, it doesn't give me generic AI slop. It gives me something that actually sounds like me, and I can layer in my own notes, my brand context, whatever frameworks I'm working with, and it synthesizes all of it. That's how I built this video, actually. I analyzed the top performing hook videos, pulled the patterns, added my own perspective, and wrote the script in my voice. The whole thing. If you want to try it, there's a free trial. Links in the description. Starts at $10 a month after that, which is half the price of Claude Pro, and you get access to the same Claude models. But honestly, even if you never use it, the 4 mistakes I just walked you through will improve your hooks starting today. That's the point. So let's bring this all together. 4 mistakes, 4 fixes. Delay. Stop burying your topic. Lead with it. First sentence. Maximum speed to value. Confusion. Simplify your words. 6th grade reading level. 1 interpretation only. Irrelevance. Say you and your. Frame around pain points, not topics. Be the prescription, not the Wikipedia article. Disinterest. Build contrast. Open the curiosity loop. Make the gap between what they believe and what you're offering so specific and so vivid that they can't look away. And underneath all 4 of these, the principle that ties it all together: lead with service. Give the viewer something valuable, ask for anything. The creators who do this, the ones who treat every hook like a gift instead of a pitch, they're the ones getting the views. Every time. You deserve to know this stuff. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's a system. And now you have it. If this helped you, drop a comment with your niche. I'll personally tell you which of these 4 mistakes is probably your biggest one. And if you want to see how I plan an entire year of content using this kind of analysis, that video is right here. We'll see you on the next one.